Thank you for joining us today. I'm Elizabeth Timmey, Co-Executive Director of LA Moss, a nonprofit community development organization. We center working class communities of color in our work with a focus on Northeast LA. In the next 45 minutes, the Backyard Homes team will be covering topics of affordable housing, cross-collaboration, new financial products, building affordably, as well as celebrating the groundbreaking of our first ADU. This event will be recorded and posted online. Please feel free to use the chat to start a discussion. It would also be great if everyone can identify their associated organization and where you're coming from. It would be really great if people also wanted to share their experience with ADUs. The Backyard Homes program was a program we developed 2 years ago amidst the affordable housing crisis. Our goal was to explore how the average homeowner could become a provider of affordable housing and make sure that half of these million single family lots in Los Angeles were a part of the solution. With an abundance of single family lots in LA, we saw that there was a possibility for backyard homes or ADUs to be an alternative to the traditional methods of affordable housing. We also saw the potential of the Section 8 program to do more. And our expertise in creating this program was formed in 3 ways. We worked with the City of Los Angeles on an ADU pilot project that demonstrated that ADUs can be affordably built and contextually designed and creatively financed. We also worked with the County of LA on an ADU pilot program, which explored how forgivable loans could support ADUs that house the formerly homeless. And a big thanks to support from our local LISC office, LISC LA. We conducted a year of research talking to housing experts and over 100 homeowners to understand what it would take for ADUs to be a real viable, accessible form of affordable housing. This is our fun Chutes and Ladders puzzle that we made, or game that we made. And you can see that being a developer of an ADU or being a resident that's developing ADUs on your own can be tricky and full of complex obstacles. So in 2019, we launched a pilot program that featured a one-stop shop, and we received over 200 applications.
I am Helen Lurie, the other co-executive director with LA Moss. Here's how our program works. We offer homeowners help through the whole process of developing a housing unit: design, permit, finance, construction, and leasing. To ensure the housing unit is rented affordably, all participating homeowners commit to serving as a Section 8 landlord for 5 years, meaning that they receive subsidy and rent their new ADU at market rate to low-income tenants. Our program is only made possible because of our incredible partnerships, which include 6 nonprofits and our housing authority. To ensure that our ADUs are affordably built, Restore Neighborhoods Los Angeles, also known as RNLA, serve as general contractor. And together we are design builders, and we work together to create 7 ADU prototypes that give homeowners a baseline of costs. You'll see here the starting price points. We also provide choice on architectural style that reflects the context of homeowners' communities. Jason with RNLA will be sharing shortly how they reduce risk for homeowners by committing to an all-in price point as much as possible and sooner than later. To support homeowners who do not have financing options, we partnered with 2 community development financial institutions to create a new ADU mortgage product. Pavlin with Genesis LA will be sharing how a loan guarantee and pre-development loan shaped the financial product we created. And Sarah with Self-Help Federal Credit Union will share how their team created the first of its kind ADU mortgage product. We plan to feature the next 4 partners at our next ADU teach-in. The Housing Authority of the City of LA is helping us monitor the 5-year commitment that homeowners commit to, and they're going to support us in streamlining the Section 8 registration process. The Housing Rights Center will train our homeowners on how to be responsible and supportive landlords. And LA Family Housing and St. Joseph Center are housing service providers that will help our homeowners find a tenant and provide ongoing services to those tenants. Our time developing and administering this program is supported by a handful of amazing partners. Again, our local LIST office, the Wells Fargo Foundation, and Parsons Foundation. The financing innovation made possible is supported by JP Morgan Chase. And just to make it clear, homeowners do pay for the cost of their ADU, but they have a discounted architectural fee at $8,000 from us at LA Mass and predictability in contractor profit and overhead from RNLA. So what's next for our program? Our program is now closed and we're not accepting new applications. And we're committed to wrapping up our pipeline of 5 homeowners this year. Our organization will focus on affordable housing strategies in Northeast LA moving forward. And we're very excited to see many of you continue the field building and create similar programs throughout the region and beyond.
So with that, we are excited to introduce everyone to Katherine Guevara, who learned about our program through friends that work at agencies serving clients who are experiencing homelessness. Here's a plan of her ADU. We have been working together for a little bit over a year on this design, and on December 7th, we began the construction process on her backyard home. This unit that we designed for Katherine is one of our most colorful and compact 1-bedrooms. And her ADU benefits really thoughtful, wonderful yard, which has been used as an edible garden with native plantings to save on water use. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Katherine.
Hello, everyone. I'm the homeowner, Katherine, and so excited to be with you today to talk about the tiny house, the home, the ADU, going in my backyard as part of the LA Moss Backyard Homes program. Thank you for joining us. You know, it all started for us with getting a pomegranate tree. We had the privilege of being first-time homeowners and having an abundance of space in the backyard. And we started to wonder what else we could do with this land because we're so fortunate to be homeowners. We knew we didn't want to water dirt or a lawn, we should water food. So we got really inspired by Ron Finley's South LA Urban Farms movement, and the wonderful LA Green Grounds volunteers put in an edible garden, and City Plants program provided fruit trees. Before we knew it, we had collard greens, broccoli, squash, guavas, persimmons. We were eating better. My spouse reduced his cholesterol. We were able to share that food with colleagues and neighbors. But you know what? Even after all of this, we looked back there and still had extra space not being used. We still did. And we started thinking, how else could we use the land? And that's when we became aware of the tiny house movement and looking into how we could build one ourselves when we came across this particular program, this awesome idea that's perfectly aligned to our community and lifestyle goals, just like our garden was. So we are so excited to be the first family in Los Angeles to do this and grateful to have the opportunity. I think now more than ever, most of us better understand that tomorrow, this could be us. This could be you, this could be me. We are all just one health crisis, one injury, one job loss away from experiencing homelessness too. So you never know when you might need to count on Section 8 housing in the future. Because not having shelter doesn't define who you are. It should not limit your future. However, we all know that the condition of not having a roof above you definitely affects your ability to perform and succeed in this society. We also recognize that having a house is not a solution. This is just the starting point of a solution, but at least we can be a small part of the starting point of a much bigger solution. We can help someone get there a little bit faster. We also recognize there is historical injustice regarding access to property rights and housing. Yet housing is a fundamental right. It is a basic need. So if this tiny house can provide someone a basic need, they will then be able to better focus on next steps in their life. We believe that solving homelessness is the responsibility of everyone, and we're just trying to do our part, a small part, what we can do with the blessings that we have that we're able to share. So if you also have the privilege to own property and you have extra space, then please, let's do something with it.
Thank you so much, Catherine. It's really inspiring to hear your perspective and how you got involved with the program. So hi, everyone. My name is Linda Reyes. I'm a program manager for the Backyard Homes Project. I work closely with our finance partners at Self-Help Federal Credit Union and Genesis LA on the financial vetting for our applicants, informing the loan product, and guiding homeowners through the financing process. So in the Backyard Homes Project, applicants have the option of using their own financing or applying for the unique loan product created by Self-Help and Genesis. So those seeking financing through our program undergo a vetting process where the following criteria are considered. So that's debt to income, loan to value, having a solid credit history and stable income, and liquid reserves being helpful but not required. And so our team makes sure that we consider these factors because we want to make sure that the homeowner is ready for the significant investment of building an ADU. And we also never want to put a homeowner in a financially unsustainable position. Our finance partners will discuss this in more detail in a moment, but here's a snapshot of how our product compares to other types of lending, such as a home equity line of credit or an FHA loan. The loan product in the Backyard Homes Project is a cash out refinance, which replaces the borrower's existing mortgage with a new home loan and then allocates funds toward the ADU construction. The borrower's future rental income, which in our program's case is set by HUD under the Section 8 program, is factored into the vetting process, which is unique to our program, making it potentially easier for homeowners to qualify. And now I'd like to invite our partners, Sarah Brennan from Self-Help Federal Credit Union and Pavlin Buchikov from Genesis LA, to share their expertise and experience with us. Hi, Pavlin and Sarah. So if you can please tell us more about yourselves and the role that your organizations played in the creation of the financing product.
Definitely. Thank you, Linda. Sarah, if you don't mind now, I can start. Genesis LA, as Elizabeth mentioned earlier, we're a community development financial institution, or we're a lender that serves underserved communities. And we were part of that initial City of LA pilot project for the ADUs. And we identified that ADUs could help resolve the housing crisis we currently experience in Los Angeles and the region. And we wanted to explore more ways to scale ADU development, make it more simple, make it more affordable to homeowners. And we identified that homeowners are not developers. They don't know how to go through a lengthy process of design, permitting, identifying construction. So we figured that we need to build a team together. And we reached out to LA Moss as a design permitting studio. We reached out to Self-Help Federal Credit Union as an organization that is mission driven and it's used to work with underserved communities. We also reached out to Restore Neighborhoods LA as a contractor and experienced in developing small sites. And we created this one-stop shop that helps homeowners build equity and provide housing units. And I'll stop here and to Sarah.
Sure, thank you, Pavlin. So, and great to be with everyone today. My name's Sarah, and I serve as Senior Vice President here at Self-Help Federal Credit Union. And in particular, I oversee our presence in Southern California. So right now we have 4 physical branch locations where anyone, including homeowners that participate in this pilot, can walk in at any time, become a member. Even yes, during this COVID crisis, we're still open as an essential business. And so those locations are in the City Heights neighborhood in San Diego, branch in downtown Pomona, one in Wilmington, not too far from the Wilmington Long Beach border. And our newest one is in South LA, which is on Crenshaw Boulevard in the Crenshaw Lamert Park community. So Self-Help is a 40-year-old CDFI. Like Genesis, our mission is entirely to create and protect ownership and economic opportunity for those who are traditionally underserved and even excluded from responsible finance. We've been here for, and by here, I mean the Los Angeles region, for a little over 5 years now. And we were really thrilled when LA Moss and Genesis LA reached out to us and asked us to support this pilot because, like many of you, we recognize what a moment of crisis we're in terms of affordable housing. And we were happy to draw on our 40 years of experience with mortgage lending, as well as our experience with construction lending, to combine those two and create an entirely new product for the purposes of this pilot. So the way that it works is we support the homeowner directly. As Linda and others have already mentioned, we refinance the homeowner's existing mortgage note. And then part of the funds from that are set aside in an escrow account at Self-Help, and that's used to finance the construction of the actual ADU unit. And for the homeowner, they're interfacing from our team with two designated team members, the loan officer, as well as basically an internal kind of homeowner advocate concierge who's really connecting all the dots for the homeowner, not only between the loan officer and the other teams at Self-Help that support the loan, but with all of the partners that are part of this webinar.
Great. Thank you both for that overview. On behalf of LA Moss, it's been really great to work with partners like you who've really collaborated with us in such a deep way. Really making sure homeowners understand all of their options in financing and understand the investment that they're making, and really setting up every applicant for success. And we know it's been a long and iterative process throughout the pilot. So can you tell us about some of the complexities of ADU financing? And Sarah alluded a little bit to this, but what makes this different from other forms of construction lending? And what are some of the aspects of the program and the product that your organization's innovated on?
Thank you, Linda. I think I can start again. ADU construction, it's difficult from other construction in terms of that there's no value at the site before the unit is built. For a typical construction lender, it's difficult to assess the risk in such a development until you have that property there. So there's always this gap between the loan and the actual site value. So at Genesis, we identified this from the very beginning, and we figured that we can mitigate this by providing a loan guarantee for the construction portion of the loan. In this way, the lender, Self-Help Credit Union, has the risk mitigated during construction, and once the unit is available, up and running, the value is there, the income is there. Another thing we identified is that homeowners may not have available cash on hand to fund all of the pre-development costs that get you to a construction permit. And we worked with LA Moss, with Linda's team, to provide a recoverable grant in which we advance some capital, which the homeowner can use for the initial costs, and then repay it back once the main loan is closed. These are some of the difficulties. The other difficulty is working with our program targeted low and moderate income individuals, and we needed to partner with a lender that understands these communities, understands the dynamics there. And Sarah and Self-Help came to the rescue, and they're just a great lender. And Sarah, maybe you can expand on this.
Sure, yeah, thank you, Pavlin. So I think, as has been shared, we created an entirely new product with the input and feedback that we received from Pavlin, Genesis LA, LA Moss, and all the other team members. And in creating this new product, there are 6 kind of key innovations that I would like to highlight for folks, especially for those who are viewing the webinar who may be lenders. So the first innovation, and by innovation, I mean, we took our standard mortgage product and we had to do a number of tweaks in order to make it fit the demands of financing entirely new construction on the property. So the first kind of innovation or change from our typical mortgage loan product is that we wanted to create a way to allow the homeowner to take some of the future rental income that in this pilot they'll be receiving from the Section 8 voucher holder and count that as part of their income when the loan officer team is looking at, what their DTI is and what size mortgage they qualify for. So that's really, really important, because without that piece, the homeowner may not be able to qualify for a loan large enough in order to finance the full construction. So specifically, we will count up to 75% of the future rental income as that homeowner's income when we're taking a look at that loan. The second key innovation is that and Pavlin also alluded to this a little bit in his comments, but we allow the use of the as completed loan to value rather than the existing loan to value. And that's really important because, of course, right now, it's a single family property with one home on it. And so the value of the home right now is not reflective of the value of the home that will exist once it has a whole, legally permitted ADU unit on it. So we're allowing our mortgage loan to fit that possibility of what the future value will be. The third key innovation is that, and I want to especially give a nod to the LA Moss team in recommending this change, we decided to allow what we're calling revenue gap financing for the homeowners in order to tide them over for that period between when they have closed the loan and when they actually have, a tenant paying rent in that new ADU unit. So if you think about it, you're the homeowner, you've closed the loan, your new loan is whatever it is, $500, maybe $1,000 a month more in order to finance that ADU construction. And that will be more than covered by the rental income you anticipate receiving. But there's still a 6 to 9 month gap before that actual ADU unit is completed and you're taking rental income from your future renter. So in order to tide homeowners over during that period, homeowners are able to, with our program, finance that gap for that 9 month period before they receive rental income so that they don't have to worry about covering that cost during those months in between when they're not receiving rent. And then the last three are, and I'll mention these briefly, are one, it was really important to our partners and to us to sync up our pre-qualification process so that it includes all of the different considerations and costs that folks like the general contractor RNLA will have and that LA Moss as the architect and design team have. So the homeowner doesn't need to worry about, taking one cost, communicating it to the, in this case, credit union. It's all one shop, we're all working together. The fifth innovation is that we don't wait for a permit to be drawn. We're willing to close the loan and provide that funding prior to that permit. And then the sixth is that we have this designated kind of internal concierge on our team who's connecting the dots for the homeowner between the loan officer on our end and all of the other partners so that it's as seamless as possible for the homeowner.
Thank you, Sarah and Pavlin. And then lastly, can you both share some of the learning lessons that you're taking away from participating in the Backyard Homes project? And also if you can end on sharing what's next for both of your organizations.
Great, thank you, Linda. There's a lot of lessons that we learned from this product. We pretty much determined that ADUs can be a source for affordable housing. Some of the not so fortunate lessons, we wanted to work with low-income communities. Sadly, the market in LA just doesn't allow for that. Low-income communities have lack of equity in the homes. Maybe they bought it recently, maybe they refinanced recently, and they just can't take on more debt. Their income is limited. And as much as I hate to say it, to work in these communities, we need some form of subsidy. We need some form of help to make these happen. On the other end, we were able to really determine what's the process, the design process, the permitting process, the financing process. And I think we came up with a great product in partnership with Self-Help that could be replicated across the nation. And to finish what's next for Genesis LA, we're always open to innovative programs. We're always open to trying to resolve the housing crisis and provide more equity for communities here in Los Angeles. So we don't have a clear path forward, but we think that we've learned a lot and this can navigate our future efforts.
And for us, I mean, this pilot was a great experience and truly appreciate all of the partners at the table and the way that you brought us together, I think it really is a good example of how other pilots can work. In our view as a lender, it was a true risk mitigant, right? In order to have this coalition of trusted, vetted partners who really do have the best interest of homeowners in mind. I think that as we see this interest in ADUs explode, naturally and unfortunately, there are going to be, vendors that enter the market space that maybe are not as concerned with providing really fair, affordable cost of services and cost of financing. So for us, we are exploring and would possibly enter other markets in California or even in other markets across the US where self-help has a presence. But it's absolutely crucial from our perspective, both for the homeowners' safety as well as the lenders' safety, that there really is this partnership and this coalition of partners that are working together. Because for any homeowner, it's a daunting process, right? Unless you happen to work in construction or real estate development, it's not natural or normal to go to City Hall and pull a permit and have conversations with your GC about the progress and the timeline. And so having these trusted vetted partners, we think is just really crucial to the success of this or any pilot.
And now I'll pass it on to my colleague Chaz, who will talk more about design, permitting, and building.
Hi, everyone. My name is Chaz. I'm the design lead and project manager of the design permitting for Backyard Homes project. And I work with RNLA providing project management, design, permitting, and construction support for homeowners in the program. In the Backyard Homes project, the application process sets the stage for the project, which includes the finance review, property review, homeowner interview, and site visit. And it's important to understand homeowner preferences and vision, walking through site opportunities, constraints, and to get a sense of both the homeowner project budget. And we especially enjoy learning why homeowners are interested in becoming a provider of affordable housing and being a Section 8 landlord. And we work together as a design builder to develop a feasibility study, propose unit types, and proposal estimate based on everything we've learned so far from that process. And we prepare a proposal before any contract is signed that is all in, including hard and soft costs, our pre-designed units and pre-selected fixtures and finishes help us estimate that all-in price point. And after the proposal is approved and the contract is signed, we have 3 design meetings to discuss the interior and exterior finishes and fixtures for that unit. And we then move into permitting and construction, which is about 7 to 10 months. So here's a look at the design package from one of the 3 design meetings. After the homeowner selects a unit type, we explore usually 3 different color options based off of the homeowner's preference in color and style. And so we value listening to the homeowner needs and work towards transparent pricing in this process. And it's all really made possible through our design build collaboration with our partner, RNLA. And now I'd like to invite Jason Neville from RNLA, the Backyard Homes project general contractor, to share his experience in ADU development. And RNLA specializes in single-family homes and ADU construction, and has worked closely with the City of LA to construct many homes in the past decade. And they're really a leading developer in affordable single-family housing in LA. So thank you, Jason, for joining us.
Thanks, Chaz. It's great to be a part of this program. Welcome, everybody. It's good to be with you. As Chaz mentioned, I'm the Deputy Director at Restore Neighborhoods LA. It's a LA-based affordable housing nonprofit. We specialize in small-scale housing innovation, single-family homes, ADUs, bungalow courts, naturally occurring affordable housing, and also permanent supportive housing. RNLA was the top scoring applicant in the recent Housing Innovation Challenge, HHH Housing Innovation Challenge. So we love talking housing innovation, especially at the small scale, and ADUs are, I think we all agree, a small scale housing solution. So we're excited to be a part of this project. Behind me, you can actually see a picture of the site as it was just a few days ago. We formed up the concrete, which will be poured later this week, as Katherine mentioned.
Thanks, Jason. So in your experience talking about ADUs, would you be able to share your thoughts on what makes a site feasible?
Sure. Thanks to state legislation that was adopted in January 2017 and has been improved since then, basically any site in the city of Los Angeles, including multifamily sites now, not just single family, are feasible for ADUs. But I'll just focus on homeowner, single family feasibility, which would a couple of things. One is having a flat site is great. If you're living in a hillside, that's fine. You can still have an ADU, but that'll add time and cost for additional structural engineering and permitting, soils testing, that sort of thing. Having an alley access is great, both in terms of getting equipment and machinery and materials onto the site. But not all properties have alleys, and we can still do it without them, but that makes it a little bit easier. It also gives you some design options of having the tenant come into their unit from the alley. And I would also say, lastly, that if you have an existing structure, so in the case behind me, we're doing a new construction, but if you have an existing structure, over half of the ADUs in Los Angeles are conversions of existing spaces. So if you have an existing structure, you should make sure you determine exactly what that structure is permitted for. Even if it looks like a garage, or even if it looks like an addition to your house, you need to be certain what that actual permitted use is. Otherwise, you'll get into some challenges. And I think that in the resource list that attendees will get, there's some resources there for folks that specialize in doing the due diligence related to permitting.
It sounds like that really existing site conditions and construction access affect the project timeline and cost, which is kind of what we're determining what quote unquote feasibility really means.
Right.
So how can we ensure that project costs, like pre-bidding figures, which is the construction estimate before the contract is signing, in our case, align with available financing?
Yeah, so in this program, so RNLA, our organization, is the licensed general contractor that is building these units that LA Moss is designing on behalf of the homeowners who are participants, using the funding from our partners at Self Help. So RNLA is building these projects, and we work really closely with LA Moss during the design to make sure that that ADU can be built on budget. So RNLA has built several of the folks at RNLA have built several ADUs. So we're able to work with LA Moss at an early design stage and make sure that the size and the configuration and the utility connections that are being contemplated at the earliest stages are within the homeowner's budget and the loan amounts that Self Help is ready to finance. Another area of expertise that RNLA brings to the table, which is a good pointer for homeowners that might be joining us, is the cost to build the ADU is just one piece of the total cost to get the thing done, because there's design work, permit fees, required structural and energy calculations, surveys, utility connections, appliances, all that. But we provide in this program all-in pricing that covers all of those things, so that in order to ensure that all of the costs are within that loan amount.
Great. And then I think we had just one last question. So stepping back, how does constructing ADUs fit into the big picture of affordable housing, and what's next for RNLA?
Sure. Great question. I mentioned that state law that took effect in January 2017. And prior to that, in the city of Los Angeles, there were about 100 permits for ADUs every year. At the end, in 2019, there were 6,700 permits for ADUs. So a 67x increase in just 3 years. And essentially what happened was a new a market was created for a housing typology, more or less overnight. And so what we've seen, and I have also built ADUs through my private company, Building Blocks, the ones that without programs like this, a lot of times the rents that are being charged are commensurate with market rents. One thing that I've just found through my personal experience, and I think other people may have had different experiences, is that these ADUs get rented out at whatever the market will bear, which isn't always affordable given our huge housing shortage. So there are plenty of affordability programs in Los Angeles and in the country for multifamily product types and even for single family. But given that ADUs are now 20% of the new housing supply in Los Angeles, and that they aren't necessarily going to be affordable naturally, these kinds of affordability programs are really, really important. And I would also just say that, partnering with public entities like HACLA, I think is really important to help them prototype program structure for scaling. Yes, only 5 are being done through this program, but hopefully HACLA and our other partners can learn how to structure programs like this to capture a piece of this growing market segment and make sure that it's affordable.
Great. Thank you, Jason. Well, it's been about a month since construction started on the project. To wrap up, would you be able to share a construction update?
Sure. So this is a picture of the site. As Katherine mentioned, she has a beautiful backyard with a lot of fruit growing trees and some other, is it okay to say that there's some chickens back there? But it's a beautiful backyard. We have been as careful as possible to preserve that. I'll just flag utilities. By the way, you've got to connect an ADU to the main house. So water, sewage, electricity, gas. You have to be careful about where you're running those lines. So what you're looking at is the foundation being formed up, meaning the carpenters have built the forms into which the concrete will be poured. You can see the rebar and the plumbing that has been put in there, the electrical and so forth. So the next step is to pour concrete, and we anticipate another 3 or 4 months for construction. And what you've just showed up on the screen, this is from a different project that was not a part of the LA Moss program, but just a fun little sequencing photo of an ADU that we did. So on the left-hand side, you can see the slab. This was one that was a new construction ADU attached to an existing garage. So there was some demolition work on the left. Then you pour the concrete, you then frame it up. You then, in the middle picture, add the sheathing, leave the holes for the windows and doors, add the roofing. In the picture to the right of that, which is the black one, you then begin to add the waterproofing and seal up the windows, finish the roof, and then in the end, you add the exterior, which in this case was stucco.
Now it's time for the remote groundbreaking. So I'd like to invite all of our partners to turn the cameras back on. And want to thank Katherine, Self-Help, Genesis LA, RNLA for all being here and the part of this project team. It's very exciting, the first one through the program. So please hold up your groundbreaking shovels or spoons, and let's officially break ground on our first backyard homes.
Congratulations, Katherine.
Yay.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Can I also give a shout out to Katherine real quick? I think it's great to have a really engaged, the thing that's interesting to me about ADUs, and I think some other folks touched on it, is the homeowner is the developer. And homeowners aren't used to being the developers. And having an engaged homeowner involved in the project that understands what's happening is on board. I really appreciate everything you said earlier, Katherine, about the mission that you're on as a family. But having a homeowner that's engaged in the process and has excellent communication, like it or not, any homeowner that decides to do an ADU will become a co-project manager. It is your property. You need to let people onto the site. There's a construction zone happening for 4 months in your backyard. And so homeowners need to have, it's very helpful to work with homeowners who approach it like that. And it's been a pleasure working with Katherine. And I just want to say thank you and looking forward to building this for you.
Thank you. So well said, Jason. And with that, we want to thank everyone again for joining us today. Again, we want to talk and stress the importance of partnership and how this was a project that was only possible because we were all equal partners with a kind of shared value. And we will invite you back later this year to celebrate the ribbon cutting for Katherine's ADU and to celebrate her new tenants. Until then, we invite you no matter where you are and what role you play, to join us in the efforts to creating more affordable housing. And to outline that briefly, things that you can do is become a Section 8 landlord. You can create affordably rented ADUs within your community. You can also advocate for policies that reduce barriers to affordable housing.
If you're thinking about creating a program like this, we see so many of you from across the state and nation. Here are some tips to keep in mind. Make sure to have a government partner that can help with permitting and provide subsidy. Really consider the extra financial resources a low-income homeowner may need if you're thinking about this as a social equity, racial justice initiative. And also, to ensure predictability in total development costs, which minimizes risk, think about having design builders or partners like RNLA on board. And on the slide here are some resources to look into. There are many, many resources out there. So here are just a few. If you're based in California, the Casitas Coalition is a California-based advocacy group, and they're going to actually be hosting a series of ADU webinars this year, so sign up. We also have, I'm sorry, I'm out of order. The City of Pasadena, for those who are interested in innovative government financing, the second unit dwelling program is doing just that, providing forgivable loans and a financial product. The LA ADU Accelerator is a way to incentivize existing ADUs to be affordable to seniors. That's a program in the city of LA. YIMBY LA is a consulting firm from the first permitted ADU homeowner in the city of LA. They have so much knowledge, so you can look up their work if you're based in the city of Los Angeles. And for those who want to just learn more about ADUs and all the challenges that come with it, the leading expert in the nation is Cole Peterson, based in Portland, and his website, Building an ADU, has more resources than you would ever imagine.
Yeah, thank you for joining us, and feel free to stay connected with us. Visit our website, moss.la, or follow us on social media at moss4la, and we hope to collaborate with you in the future.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks to everyone and all the partners. Congrats, Katherine.
Yeah, congrats, Katherine.
Thank you.